What do a bag of Doritos and a three-bedroom house in the suburbs have in common? Well, more than you might think. Because right now, the American housing market is starting to remind me a lot of a story that we saw unfold with Doritos. And consumers, well, they're starting to respond the exact same way. Today, we're going to break down what I'm calling the Dorito Effect, what it is, how it destroyed one of the biggest snack brands' pricing, and why the housing market might be staring down that same cliff right now. Let's start with the bag of chips. Back in the 2000s, my go-to snack while I was on the road was a 20-ounce soda and a small bag of chips. It was like $2 total. And back then at HEB, you could get a bag of chips for like $1.50, and then they started creeping up, $2, and then $3, and then $4. And then somewhere along the line, that bag of chips started getting lighter while the prices started getting heavier. You pay more, you get less, and they hope you didn't notice. And then came the post-pandemic era. Supply chain issues, ingredient costs spiked. Like all companies, they decided the solution was simple. Let's just keep raising the prices. We all complained, but we all kept just buying the stuff as usual. By the end of 2024, a bag of chips, about $7 a bag. $7 for some chips. And here's where it gets really interesting. People finally hit a breaking point and stopped buying them. Apparently, the company lost like $50 billion in market value, and they missed their revenue targets by $1 billion 2 years in a row. That's a lot of stinking chips. But the market spoke, and those prices started coming back down. Now replace Doritos with a house. In 2019, the median home price in the U.S. was about $258,000. Then the pandemic happened. Interest rates hit rock bottom. Everyone was stuck at home, realizing they needed more space because their kids were going cuckoo crazy, and demand exploded, and prices followed. By 2022, the median home price shot up to over $440,000, a 70% increase in just a few years. Y'all know the story. The Fed ended up raising the rates to fight inflation. Mortgage rates then jumped from 3% to over 7%. And this is where it gets kind of Dorito-y, the Dorito Effect story. You would expect prices to fall when buyers can't afford to buy the house, right? Well, nationally, they didn't. In 2023 and 24, prices continued to rise for most of the country. Now, here in Central Texas, that was a little bit different story. But with people holding on to their 3% interest rates and their inventory being low, sellers who did list, they were still pricing like it was early 2022, and they would still sell. Doritos also kept raising the price on a bag of chips, even after fewer and fewer people were reaching for them. Okay, now let's do a side-by-side comparison because the parallels are kind of eerie. On the Dorito side, prices rose steadily for years. Consumers grumbled and they kept buying. With housing, prices rose steadily for years. People grumbled, but they kept buying. Doritos, COVID made supply chain issues and companies raised prices dramatically. With COVID, the demand surged and low rates sent prices to the stinking moon. Doritos prices kept rising after COVID dust settled because they could. Then on the housing, prices stayed elevated even as rates rose because sellers didn't have to sell and there wasn't that many options at the time. Doritos, eventually consumers hit a breaking point. The volume dropped, the market corrected the behavior. With housing, buyers, well, they seem to be hitting that breaking point right now. Mortgage applications are the lowest they are in decades. Home sales have significantly dropped off, and first-time home buyers have basically been priced out of the market in most major cities. So what did Frito-Lay actually do when volume dropped? Well, they finally had to face reality. They started running promotions. That $7 bag quietly became the $5 bag again because at the end of the day, nobody really needs Doritos. And when prices start making you stop and think even for 1 second, that impulse buy at the counter, well, it's gone. Now, here's the billion-dollar question. Will the same thing happen to the housing market? The optimists say no. Housing is different. You can't just skip buying a house the way you could skip buying some chips. But people need shelter, right? But more and more people are willing to wait on buying a new house right now, either by not moving or just renting. Here's what the Dorito story really teaches us. Every market has a breaking point. There is a price where buyers simply can't or won't pay. And when enough of them stop reaching for that bag or the house, sellers eventually have to respond. I think we may be watching that breaking point happen right now. Look, I'm not here saying that the housing market's going to completely crash. That's not what this is about. Doritos are still on the shelf and people are still buying them, but it took the company a while to face the facts and make a change. And I believe sellers are in that same boat right now. For those that need to sell right now, you have to either be a diamond or a deal. Find a realtor that's going to be honest and upfront, even though it's really hard. I mean, it sucks telling people that their house isn't worth what they had hoped for. But I'm not going to tell you just what you want to hear just to get a listing. That doesn't do either one of us any good. For those that need to buy, well, make sure you're doing your research. Don't get suckered into a bad deal with an overpriced home or bad interest rate deals that aren't really deals at all. And get yourself a realtor that's going to look out for your best interest and not just say or do anything just to get a sale done. I'm Eric McArthur, and I want to earn your business, not just for one transaction, but for every deal that you, your aunt, uncle, best friend, your best friend's mom, and even your Amazon delivery guys ever makes. Because you know that I'm going to help educate and fight for you and your people's best interest with one of the biggest financial investments you'll ever make. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.